All right, good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. According to my computer, it's about 1 minute till 2, but on my other devices, it's saying it's 2 p.m. promptly. We're not going to be talking about our topic right away. There's a few other things we're going to talk about, so there are going to be some folks coming right in while we're discussing this here. But we have a very detailed or complicated topic today and very little time to cover it in. We're here to talk about the Church Windows Bank reconciliation process. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Maybe a little early. We will have a recording of this webinar event on our YouTube page. I think we already have one, for an earlier version of the software, but the bank reconciliation process has not changed in several versions. So this presentation or the one on the website should be covering virtually the same exact information and show the same sorts of things. Before we get started, again, we're working with 18.15.4, the patch that was just released last week. You can download that from the Church Windows website. If you have questions for me, please type those into the questions portion of the control panel or your webinar control panel. Again, folks, I'm equipped to, and the data is set up to answer questions about the bank reconciliation only, and based on our time allotted, we simply do not have time to cover any other topics. Either look at some of our other Church Windows webinar events, or please contact technical support. Our staff are always available and happy to help. We're going to finish up at 20 minutes after, no later. Again, I try to be respectful of your time, taking the time out of the day to spend with us today, so I, again, will be happy to stick around and try to answer additional questions about the bank rec if I don't answer those. But if you've seen what you came to see, please leave the webinar or exit the webinar at your convenience or at your leisure. All right, so a couple things before we get started on this. If I go to churchwindows.com and we go down to support blog here, down under support down the left side, and we click here and I type in reconciliation. Did I type that right? Yeah. Notice here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 numerous topics that reference on our blog page the bank reconciliation process in accounting. Okay? There is all kinds of stuff here about this. Documents, movies, first bank reconciliation after converting from financial to accounting, your first bank rec overall. There's just lots of information that we make available on our website about the bank reconciliation. Okay, this is all just here available if you can get to the website, free, no charge at all. You can get in here. You just need to get to the blog page to access that. So that is item number 1. Number 2 is that we do have the Church Windows training workbooks. The bank reconciliation topic is covered in workbook A203 from pages 12 to 22. That's what I'm going to be using as a basis for my webinar event today, albeit the amounts and things like that are going to be different, but the process is still the same. So, again, we're already about 4 minutes into it, we're going to go ahead and get started here. So you need to reconcile. Great if you keep your a bank reconciliation, handy, or use that in another program, or on a spreadsheet, or handwritten, ledger or what have you outside of Church Windows. And we work with lots of users that do. But the only way to verify that Church Windows is in line or is agreeing with your bank statement is to use the bank reconciliation process in our program. Okay, I deal with that a lot. Folks call me and they say, well, I'm having problems with the bank reconciliation, and then come to find out on the call they're using something outside of Church Windows. Unfortunately, folks, we can't help you with that. Okay, I can help you with the bank reconciliation in Church Windows, but outside of that, it's all on you. Okay, so please, it's the only way to verify that the software is reconciling with your bank statement itself. To begin the bank reconciliation, you of course need the bank statement from your bank for the period you're attempting to reconcile. We're going to go ahead and click on the bank reconciliation and open our main bank reconciliation screen here. So the very first thing as I introduce my highlighter here, is that it requires that we select an asset account. So everybody should see my line that I'm drawing in yellow there across that page. Okay. The screen otherwise is gray. I can't do anything else on it because I have to choose an asset. What account am I reconciling? So when I click here, we're going to choose our, we've got numerous assets here, but the one we're going to be reconciling today is our Huntington Bank checking account, our main checking. Okay. Click on that. Now, other portions of the screen are now live. So the system by default is going to attempt to begin a new bank reconciliation based on the date on the computer that we're working with. So in this case, because we're in June, it's automatically wanting to try to set up or create a new bank reconciliation for May. Also, if you do have bank reconciliations which you've already started, saved, and perhaps even finalized, they will show up here in this second line called Select a Saved Bank Reconciliation. Okay, but we don't have one of those. Notice we can't click on the Select a Saved. We don't have another bank rec for 2016 that we've started. Okay, so we're going to be reconciling our bank statement for January of 2016. We're a little behind, so we're trying to get caught up, and we're going to go back and reconcile our checking account for January. So folks, another important thing about this is please enter the statement ending date that corresponds with the statement ending date on your bank statement. Okay, if you don't, it could create problems and you might not reconcile if there are other transactions that are posted on the day or that are missing based on that date. Okay? So if your bank statement says January 30th, enter January 30th as your bank reconciliation statement ending date. Don't enter a date different than the one that's on the statement. Okay? Very important. There could be other transactions which are either missing or factored in that we don't want to see that could impact our difference to reconcile. Okay? Once we've chosen our asset and we've entered our statement ending date, then we simply go to next. One of the things that I point out about this is, notice now we have statement tab, and then we're going to see some other tabs open up across the top here. Charges and interest, deposits, withdrawals, and I'm going to show you some other tabs that we have available to open up to us as we proceed through this. So the statement tab that we're on now verifies our account, what our statement ending date is, and down here under our beginning balance, deposits, withdrawals, and ending balance, we're going to enter all of this information as it appears on our bank statement itself. Okay, so we're going to enter our beginning balance. You don't see the statement here, folks, that I've got, here, but basically, yes, I have a statement here that I'm entering all of this information from, that I am taking it directly from the statement itself. Okay, a lot of folks go, wait, what's that flashing red dot for me? Why is it flashing at me? Well, because it's telling us that the equation of total deposits, or beginning balance plus total deposits less total withdrawals, is not equaling the ending balance yet. But I'm going to get there. Okay? That's a really important thing to understand about how this bank reconciliation process works, is that if, notice here we've got the plus sign, we've got beginning balance, then we've got the plus, the minus, and then the equal sign. Basically what that's telling us is that until that equation is logical and makes sense, beginning balance, adding in my deposits, subtracting my withdrawals must equal my ending balance. Okay? So now notice that once I have a logical equation entered in for that from my statement, that red dot goes away. Okay? That's telling us, hey, the system's saying, hey, the information you've entered is good, and you can now proceed on to next. Okay? Over here on the right-hand side, you can enter comments if there are special notes or something that you want to notate about this particular bank reconciliation, if you wish. We don't have anything on this particular bank rec, so we're not going to be recording any comments there, but you certainly may if something unusual showed up or occurred. Also, I do want to point out that down here at the bottom, notice we see our adjusted bank balance, our balance per accounting, and our difference to reconcile. And we do, of course, have a difference to reconcile here now for January because we haven't cleared any of our transactions. Okay? So until we begin to clear those transactions, yes, we're going to have a difference to reconcile. And we can't just clear some or clear. We have to clear all of the deposits and the withdrawals in order for us to get to a zero difference to reconcile. So now that the equation makes sense, we're going to go ahead and proceed to next. Now it takes us to our charges and interest tab. So if you do have transactions available, then you'll need to go ahead, things that are not previously recorded for interest or fees. Notice here we've got expense account for bank charges, fees, and other bank debits not previously recorded, interest and other bank credits not previously recorded, or earnings. And we're going to go ahead and just record those just because, well, we can, and it's important that you know how to do that. So we're going to go ahead and type in bank fees. We do have an expense account for that. We're going to say we have a $12 monthly bank charge. And then down here under our income account, we're going to enter our interest on checking and savings. And we're going to say we received $3.47 worth of interest on our account. And one of the most important things here, folks, is these are transactions that you're actually posting to the general ledger. So when you've entered these, you can't just proceed to next. You must click the post button down here at the very bottom. Okay? If you don't post those transactions are not being entered to clear. Okay? So then we're going to go ahead and post those. The other advantage of posting them here is they're automatically or systematically cleared as part of the bank reconciliation process. So I'll click post on that. It then records those entries. I'm now available or welcome to click next. So now when I go to next, it does take me to my now deposits tab across the top with all of my deposits, that are available here to clear based on items that have cleared or showing as cleared on my bank statement. Okay? Notice down here that our $3.47 interest charge is now automatically recorded or is now systematically cleared based on me having posted it at that prior screen. Okay? So it says here interest and other bank credits for bank statement. Okay? So again, another advantage, saves you a mouse click or two by entering them as part of on the charges and interest tab and posting them there. So so simply we would go down the list of transactions here, deposits, and based on those that are showing as credits on our bank statement, we would simply go down the list and just check the cleared box down the left-hand side. Okay? As you clear those transactions, notice we've got a deposit in transit from the December of 15. Yes, that shows on our statement. We're simply going down the list and we're verifying and double checking our amounts with our statement. And as I continue to go down the list, notice that our difference to reconcile changes and our adjusted bank balance changes. Okay? So I would simply go down the list, and I do have a deposit in transit this month. So a deposit of $1497.33 that I recorded or posted from donations on January 31st has not hit the bank statement. If it doesn't appear on your statement, folks, don't clear it. Okay? Before we move on to the withdrawals tab, I want to point out a couple things. Notice here, we do have some deposits on January 25th, 3 different income transactions here that are basically 4 different income transactions. Income. They're not brought over from donations. Okay? Fun trick here is, well, do I have to get out my calculator and add all those up? Well, that's certainly something you could do, but the system doesn't mean we don't have to, basically. So I want to know how much those total deposits were. So what I can look at here is up here at the very top, right here where it says drag a column header here to group by that column. I can then simply pick up my column header labeled date occurred and drag it up there and drop it. And notice now it's totaled or grouped all of my deposits together by date. So my January 25th deposit now shows $1351.46, which is probably the total that's in keeping with what my statement says. Okay? So I would simply, I can expand these and I can check them as cleared as necessary or unclear them, as it were, however it occurs. Okay? And again, just a really nice, fun, helpful tool that'll help you. Perhaps I was working with a user last week where we did that, and all of a sudden she found a problem that she had with her deposits on her bank rec, all because she wasn't seeing the totals. Once they were totaled together, she found exactly the problem right away. Okay? I can also drag that down and reseparate them if I wish. You do have check all and uncheck all buttons, but I'm good. I'm ready to go to next. I'll go to next. And then simply, again, I would go down my list of my checks, checking the cleared box down the left-hand side. Again, based on our time issues here, I'm going to do the check all function at the top and clear those. And I'm going to go down my list, unclearing the checks that are not cleared on my statement. Whatever works best for you folks. But notice now down here, I've got my final 602-23 payroll check that Sue did not take to the bank in cash at the end of January. And what do you know? I have balloons, difference to reconcile 0. My adjusted bank balance and my balance per accounting are perfectly in tune or in line, and I'm reconciled. Okay? Bank reconciliation is simply as a comparison. It's a comparison between, it compares the information that's showing up on our bank statement and comparing that to the data that we're recording in our Church Windows software. If you've got missing deposits or missing withdrawal transactions, you're simply not going to reconcile. Every item that shows up on your bank statement as a cleared transaction, whether it's a deposit or a withdrawal, must be recorded in Church Windows if we expect to reconcile. Okay? It's that simple. If you find a transaction is missing that you see on your statement, we've got to figure out why that entry is not showing up in the Church Windows program and get it recorded or correct it. Maybe it's a dating issue. Maybe we dated a January check in Church Windows with a February date. Well, the Church Windows Bank Reconciliation doesn't see transactions that occur after our statement ending date. So in this case, after January 31st. Finally, we click on this Get Help Reconciling, and I like to point this out because it's such a helpful tool. We've got about 2 minutes left here, so I'm going to get moving along. What this does is it compares the information that we have recorded on our statement tab to the deposits or uncleared deposits, total deposits, and compares those to the deposits recorded in accounting, and it generates a difference for us or not, as the case may be. So in this case, Church Windows is perfectly in line with regards to our deposits. Okay, and then when we click over under our withdrawals tab, Help Withdrawal Comparison, same thing. It compares the withdrawals that we've recorded from our bank statement, factors in or out the outstanding checks or checks that we have not cleared, and compares those to the total withdrawals recorded in accounting, and either generates a difference or not. So in a nutshell, what this also helps us to try to determine is if we have a difference to reconcile, is the difference coming from a problem on our deposit side of our bank reconciliation or the withdrawals or checks? In some cases, it could be both. I was working with a user earlier today, and we were working on the bank reconciliation, and we checked this, and they had a problem on both deposit and withdrawal comparison tabs. So basically, they had to resolve issues on both sides. But in some cases, it might occur that the problem is occurring on one. So one might have a difference of 0, and the other one might have your difference to reconcile. That tells you immediately which side of the bank reconciliation you need to work on, your withdrawals or your deposits. Finally, up here, your help withdrawal line items helps us simply to search for or see if we can find or match up transactions that maybe we're seeing on our statement that we're not able to find, that are on our statement that we're not able to match in the software. So Finally, folks, print your bank reconciliation report. It is really the best and only way to verify that at some point we did have that we were reconciled at one point. Okay, so when you print that bank reconciliation report, it opens up and asks you to print the which account and for what statement period, and then it opens up and is a verification of when we had a difference to reconcile. So here we know in the upper left corner, Wednesday, June 22nd, we were reconciled to 0. Can help me resolve problems if for some reason or another the data changes and I'm no longer reconciled. Okay. And finally, yes, you will want to finalize them at some point. So you would click the finalize button down here in the lower left when we're done, and it says you cannot make changes to finalize bank reconciliations. Do I want to finalize? Yes. Okay. Last thing here, you can delete a bank reconciliation in accounting. Right here on our statement tab, you do have the delete this bank reconciliation button right up here in the upper right. So if you have a problem, you can delete a bank rec, whether it's finalized or not, and restart over and re-reconcile a period if you wish. Okay? All right, so we're at about 21 minutes after, folks. It's almost exactly 20 after. I hope that helps. I'm looking at the questions, and it's indicating for some folks that they were having some audio issues, folks. I don't know. I'm not sure what how to respond to that. I'm sorry. It appears to only be a couple of folks that were having some issues. Maybe there were some internet problems on your end. I only have heard it from a couple of folks. I don't know if everybody was having the audio issues. I'm sorry. Again, this event will be available. Recording of this event is already currently available on the website or on the YouTube channel. I can simply recommend you maybe consider looking at that or viewing that. Otherwise, thank you for attending. If you have questions, please go ahead and type those in the questions portion of the webinar for me. You're most welcome. All right, well, I'm not seeing any questions coming in. Again, if you have questions, please call our support staff, 800-533-5227. I'll go ahead and end the webinar for everybody. It looks like folks are darting out pretty quickly here. And I'm not seeing any questions coming in. So I hope it's been helpful. And please let us know through support if you have any other questions or problems. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you at another future Church Windows User Group webinar event. Thank you all so much. Take care. Bye-bye.